guys can see my scares me because the camera always flips in front of me every time I am live streaming. It's so ridiculous. I want to live stream and then you gotta flip for some reason. It's so ridiculous. Anyways, hope you're all having a fantastic time. So I'm holding up my phone because my tripod is having a bunch of issues. It's practically falling apart, if you want to say it like that, because certain screws are not tight. They don't want to tighten up anymore. It's so bad, and I'm really disappointed. Honestly, I'm really disappointed. So, all right, it is Thursday, which, you know what? It is a Thursday afternoon, so good afternoon. Okay, so we have to talk about some stuff, and honestly, I'm gonna be really tired when I'm done with this live stream because because I just want to talk about a bunch of stuff. So, first things first, let's just talk about something that broke the news yesterday, which was something massive, completely massive. The new Nintendo console. Oh my goodness. Um, I'm happy for this new Nintendo console. I only own a Nintendo Switch Lite, and I've always been wanting to get the full version, hence why I got the light version years prior. And let me just say that it looks fantastic. Now, prices are an issue for many people, but the thing is that this is going to be the future of games, which is unfortunate. And the thing is that people can obviously protest, they can obviously say this price is too much, but at the end of the day, people are always going to purchase stuff. People complained about $60 games and $70 games. Guess what? People are still buying those games. When $70 initially came out for the price of games, so many people were upset. But then that became the norm within 5 to 10 months. After that, everyone was almost fully assimilated to $70. And you know what? I think it depends on the product. I'm all about the product now. If if you want to have a product that's, I don't know, like it's really good, you have to really make sure it's worth everything, in my opinion, because if you have a game that's really bad, really buggy, no one's gonna play it. You can't just sell it for $70, but some people do. Some people will sell it for more than that. Of course, if you really want to price things, you just got to change things, I guess. Make sure your game is worth every penny, and to some people, it will be worth a bit more. That's basically the truth. It reminds me of that cartoon from Freedom Tunes. I watched this years ago. It was a series. What was it? It was on his educational channel where it teaches about economics and stuff like that. And I watched that entire series and I was really enjoying it. Maybe there's more episodes of that economics cartoon, but it was so good. And from what I learned from that was obviously certain things that may be silly to us will be worth to someone else. So an $80 game may be horrible to some people, but for many people it might just be okay. Secondly, is yes, gaming is a luxury, and it's been a luxury for a while, I guess. So I'm hoping that hopefully, you know what, more people make games that way. There'll be different type of games with different prices. All right, the next thing I have to talk about, I've been trying to record a video on for days. I'm sure you guys may have heard the tragic news, but on Saturday, the news broke that Daily Wire has retrenched their entire children's division. And Bentke is still running, but the only problem is that their entire children's division is just completely gone. And it's heartbreaking because, in my opinion, Bentke and Daily Wire Plus are the most underperforming um, departments of the Daily Wire, because when it comes to politics, journalism, and all that stuff, they're doing pretty well. Documentaries, but when it comes to specifically entertainment, they fail. They really fail. And There's so many problems with that, so much mismanagement. And then you have the Jeremy's line of products, which cost millions to just manufacture. I think Jeremy's products should have just been completely cancelled, and Bensky could have survived. It's still surviving. We just don't know the future of it. But it just sucks, you know? It's like Jeremy had these interesting ideas. He threw them in the air, expecting them to stay afloat forever, but no. I feel like it just wanted these things without really realizing that you have to nurture a lot of these streaming services. So I recorded myself talking about what could have been for Benski and Daily Wire Plus. I don't know if I'll ever get that video out because I may have to edit that video, and I am lazy. So I might as well just say they just messed up big time. Okay, let me tell you the reasons why Bensky failed. Number one, Bensky failed. Okay, not failed. So far, we just have to say in the continuous why Bensky is failing, because I have a list of. Okay, I wrote this down. I wrote this down last week, so it's on my one of my draft book. So as you can see, really untidy writing. But first things first is of course demographics. They don't have enough for older children. They have so many cartoons and children shows for younger children. That's great if you're young, but if you're old, you would like to just watch older stuff. They don't have that much. Then you have flagships. They lack flagships. They're supposed to be having by now 10 flagships, yet they don't even have more than that, more than like 7 in my opinion. And that's what makes streaming services healthy. The more flagships you have, they have a lot of free content that's available on other platforms. In other words, different platforms will have certain free shows, certain free cartoons, like YouTube. There's a bunch of free cartoons, and some of those cartoons are also available on sorry, Bensky, which is ridiculous. They should have at least had more exclusive content where you pay for. That would have been much better. Then you also have the issue with fees, which they only have one option, only one option. And I may have defended this in the past, but you have to realize that they don't have enough subscribers now for Benchkey. So they have to cut their costs, right? So if they had more options for payment, people would have subscribed. What else? I can't even read my own writing. Oh, also, in my opinion, the drama regarding Crowder, Brett Cooper, Candace Owens, all of those left massive dents on the company. And at that point, instead of really just continuing doing what they want to do, they just do wacky stuff, you know? Like recently, Jeremy put out you will not believe this, but Jeremy put out an AI ad for his razor company. And he boasted about how awesome it was and how cheap it was. But I was thinking, who cares how cheap it is? If you are spending so much on your razor brand, you at least need to spend a bit more on advertising. It's so heartbreaking that Bensky has to fall because it's needed, yet it just lacks it just lacks a lot of the proper stuff to a lot of the proper unique aspects that make a good streaming service. And honestly, it seems to me that Benki may not be available forever. And then you have the story with Pendragon Cycle, which obviously is going to come out. But a lot of people keep blaming the Pendragon Cycle as if that's where all the money went. No, all the money went into Jeremy's silly little projects, making candy and chocolates and all that stuff. That's ridiculous. As much as I really enjoyed it at first, you have to realize that that's where all the spending went. They have spent millions on those products. They should have at least just not done any of those products. And that's the other problem too when it comes to being anti woke. Here's the thing, anti woke only can exist in its own small bubble. If you try to make it something massive, it's going to be a massive problem. So there's a reason why when you watch the behind the scenes footage of Pendragon, everything feels so different. It doesn't even feel like a Daily Wire production because they're putting their heart and soul into it. They're not making anti-woke show, they're making a good show. Simple as that. And that's what we need more of. We need less anti-woke shows. We need more shows that promote our values. And anti-woke is not going to be the answer forever. It's I mean it costed them a lot of money. Let's face it, Mr. Bertram could have been even cheaper if it was live action. It could have been a whole lot cheaper. And obviously, if they focused on less political content, it would have been a bit better if they made a few live action TV series that never touched upon politics. That would have been awesome. So, all I'm trying to say is sometimes you gotta lessen down, just cut down on the politics because most of the politics comes straight from the news, comes straight from their documentaries. They don't need to be any more political, But if you want to make at least one political show, you can do it, and you can do it really well without being so heavy on the nose with politics. And that's the thing. It's like we need more culture, we need more sincerity. It seems that the only way now to sell a product is if you are making some kind of comedy. And that's the problem. It's like you can't even make anything now without having a joke. It's like, no, I want to have a good story. I don't need a joke every time to prove a point. I get it. The world is effed up. I get it. But I don't need a million trans jokes just to get the point. I need a sincere comment. I need, you could say, a show that promotes, I don't know, whatever it is, conservatism, Christianity, something like that. That's what I need. But Daily Wire seems to be to be focusing so much on everything else than just making good content. It's so heartbreaking. I want them to succeed. I need them to succeed. But unfortunately, they don't want to succeed themselves, it seems. Anyways, what else we have to talk about? There's a couple more things to talk about, I guess. If only I had an entire list of what to talk about. Okay, so, all right, all right. I'm really hungry for cake. So hungry for cake. I had cake yesterday and the day before. Oh, that was so good cake. It was just these gigantic cubes of cake, chocolate and vanilla, but it's so good. So good. Also, last week we bought Easter eggs, a bunch of them. We purchased those marshmallow Easter eggs, we purchased those hollow chocolates, and we also purchased slabs of chocolate, which we finished within a few days. It was 150 grams of chocolate, and we finished it all. Wow. What else? That's about it. Easter chocolates are expensive sometimes, but when they go on special, you have to buy them quickly. And when they were going on special, we tend to buy them. But of course, you have to buy them early, or else all of a sudden they are out of stock and you won't get them until the next Easter. They started selling Easter stuff last year. That's how early they were. So you gotta go really quick. You gotta go really quick and buy as much as you can. But anyways, at least we have a few chocolates, a few really good chocolates. And so far, I'm not even feeling hungry for them. Easter is in a few weeks' time, so then we can at least start eating. But I'm afraid of finishing the chocolates before anything happens, before Easter happens. All right then. So, hmm. All right. So, moving on from all of this, we have to talk about what I have been working on because I don't make these videos anymore about my book updates. A few years ago, I was making book updates, but then that was for other books, for other projects, which I canceled, which thankfully I did because those projects needed more time. and I did not give them more time. Anyways, the books I'm working on, I am going to be using actual books to write, which some people may think that's a bit silly, but you know what? I think that's okay. So I'm going to be using paper, pencil to write my first few drafts. And when everything is fine, I'm going to transfer it onto digital. And after that, after I make a lot of the corrections, I will um, format it to fit into the size I want it to be. So possibly around this size, maybe this size, not this big, because my first book in any series is going to be really small, maybe like 200 pages or maybe two something. I don't want to go so far. When you're starting off with a series, what I learned was you have to at least start off with a small foundation. And then for the sequels, you can be as big as you want. But when it comes to foundations, you have to keep it small. And I'm going to keep my first book, you could say 200 pages or maybe a bit more, but nothing over the limits of something that makes it seem so gigantic. Like this book is 400 pages, and this is obviously a collection. I actually got this a few weeks ago. I ordered it and I was expecting it to come around this week because it told me online it will come around April. But no, it came before that, which is fantastic. And the thing is that, when it comes to collections, it makes sense for it to be this big. And obviously, when you're telling a story, and you want it to be this big, it needs to make sense. A foundation to be this big is ridiculous. I can't do that right now until I actually have a proper footing of what the heck I'm doing. So expect the book to be really small and expect it to be, I don't know the price of it. I may keep it for like, I don't know. I don't really know the prices people list for their books. I know I want it to make a profit, but I don't know how much. When it comes to what else? When it comes to images, I'm not going to put any image in my books because for the first book at least, or the first edition, because I don't have enough money to print those kind of books immediately. But once I start making money, I can have a different edition with illustrations. And I'm sure many of you guys will appreciate those books. I'm going to keep my works physical. I know it sounds a bit expensive, but it's better than to just go digital or go both. I rather just have physical because that way there's less piracy involved. And sometimes now you have AI, which is tracking down your entire book. So I rather have it physical. That way, it's just harder for many people to basically steal my work. I mean, I don't think my work is any good, but you never know when people would like to steal it and submit it as their own project. So, anyways, I have to go. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye.